the main lead male character, loses his freaking mind with grief. Just loses it, gone. And they don't just spend one show on this. It's the whole first season they spent on this.
Well, boy howdy. Time to strap some tape on and knock some teeth loose.
Well, howdy. Nearly Senior Citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a day in which I had therapy in less than an hour. So when you watch this, it's gonna be pretty late being posted. Yay, thumbs up. Therapy is important and good. It has helped me tremendously. Thumbs up for that. I get to talk to my therapist now about all the stuff that's happened, because all the things that have happened with my finding out about my blood pressure and stopping my ADHD meds are all because, but all happened the day I had therapy last week. I have denture cream holding my dentures in, and it's stuck between my dentures and my outer lip. Yay. So occasionally my lip is gonna stick, and then I'm gonna yay. Anyway though, thumbs up for that. And of course, YouTube algorithms, front loading of videos. Hey, if you could toss me a like, that'd be very cool. If you could subscribe to the channel, that too would be awesome. If you could leave me a comment, I love comments. I read every one of them. I thumbs up each one that I do read, which again is all of them. I answer as many as my executive dysfunction will allow, so thumbs up, and hey, a good thing. And of course, I am hoping that my executive dysfunction will have allowed me to have updated this list. Hokey smokes, these beautiful and awesome people are literally beautiful and literally awesome, helping to keep me and my pets alive and metabolizing. And that is greatly, greatly appreciated to no end. Definitely a thumbs up on that. If you would like to help me continue metabolizing, I do have links to my Patreon in the show more video description. Thumbs up for that. And of course, front loading of YouTube videos over. Yay! So I haven't done much with my life yesterday. Hokey smokes. I mentioned how yesterday I woke up at like 4:30, just immediately. My first conscious thought was starting to focus/fixate on the game Vampire Survivors. Yesterday ran pretty slow. Usually unmedicated, it's blink, 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 and the day's gone. On meds, a minute takes a minute, an hour takes an hour, 8 hours takes 8 hours. Yesterday, it was about 8 hours, took 6 hours, so it wasn't as slow as being medicated, but it certainly wasn't as fast as otherwise, but everything was still 1,000 ping pong balls in a wind tunnel, and every time one of the ping pong balls impacted with another one or hit the sides of the wind tunnel, boo, off onto another tangent. So not able to get a ton of thinking done, but I did play some games, I did watch videos, I did enjoy myself, and that's very, very good. Watched a good video on Twin Peaks. I really liked the show Twin Peaks. Now, I have watched the first seasons? Yeah, I guess that would work. The first 2 seasons of the show from the 90s, and then I watched the movie Fire Walk with Me, and I haven't seen anything since. I want to. This one person has been analyzing the series and the movies and such in a different way. A lot of other videos, when they explain it, they spend hours and hours going into each tiny little piece and how it attaches and makes a full whole. And this person, Maggie Mae Fisher, is just saying, look, it's also an emotional piece. David Lynch and Mark Frost, the 2 people that worked on this stuff, just tried to make it an emotional piece as well as a think piece. So sometimes on their own, they put in stuff that would just make you feel a certain way. Didn't matter how the rest of it fit in. It was to make you feel a certain way. And then, of course, while David Lynch was off doing things and then coming back periodically, the show would have veered off his rails and onto their own area, and he'd try to pull it back, and then it would go way off the rails again when he lost any sort of control, and it just wasn't fun for him. So he just quit. But emotionally and all that, yeah, it's to make you feel. And of course, there's a whole part where this person showed how the original series was also a pushback against standard movies and films of the time, because in the 80s, one of the big TV shows was something called Dynasty. And they showed what happened, the big difference between there was a death of a daughter, and the father figure not only just held things together, but had a few short minutes with each person to try and reassure them and talk about the death of the daughter. And then the next show, it was all over, all gone, done. But Twin Peaks, the TV show, the main lead male character loses his freaking mind with grief. Just loses it, gone. And they don't just spend one show on this. It's the whole first season they spent on this. And they showed that people don't just bounce back from this. Laura Palmer's the mother is just a husk of a character in all of the first season, and is a husk of a character all through the second season. And they bring her back in some sort of, horrific Kafka-esque thing in the third season, because it destroyed her to have her daughter die like that. Real consequences. So, good thing. Maggie Mae Fisher talking about Twin Peaks. If you care about it and want to know more about how it should feel, instead of trying to put together the pieces that are from a million different people and there's no way you can make a coherent whole about it, it's a very good thing to watch. I watched it, I replayed it many times to absorb certain parts of it. So yeah, good thing. Definitely a thumbs up. Leaning forward. I'm leaning forward. Just pointing out, making fun of myself, yeah. So yeah, past that, just watching videos, playing the occasional game, and just trying to hold it all together and do what I can up here for right now until I can talk to various people. Yeah, I still need to call my med manager and let her know that I'm not taking Ritalin. I need to call up a few other people. Hopefully I can get that done. I mean, the fact that I got any phone calls made this week was good. I just need to keep that momentum and pressure up. That'll be definitely a thumbs up. Yay! Definitely a good thing. There are lots of things that I want to talk creatively about my setting still, because as stated, even though the times of free-flowing, great, put it all together in grand tapestry time, maybe temporarily over, I'm still working on it and can work on it in ways that I had before that, because I wouldn't have been able to have the huge free-flowing time of creativity while I was on ADHD meds if I hadn't laid the ground for it when I was like this. So, still working on it, still doing stuff, and still enjoying the heck out of it. There is still dopamine to be had in being creative. It's just harder to get. Now, there are some things that I do want to talk about. I mean, good golly, Miss Molly, there's still Galadea. I want to talk about the various other times where if it hadn't been for her just being quick, she and others wouldn't be around. I like the character, even though she's kind of a blank slate character. I mean, I know what happened to her in her youth that made her into who she is and what she does, which is she becomes fixated on training and survival stuff. So that when she's 18, 19 years old, it gets proved to her immediately that it's a good thing she did so, because if she hadn't, she and others would have just been another meal for this critter. And there's other points. She's in her late 30s. She's had 3 situations where she has used her skills and her weaponry to save her and the lives of everyone around her. To the detriment, of course, of the things that tried to eat them, but, that happens. If something is trying to survive by stripping you of your right to survive, you have every right to defend yourself, including stripping your attacker of their right to survive. So, thumbs up. But there's stories that I want to talk about her. And then, of course, there's the flamboyant villain I want to talk more about. I don't want to make it too quick, but I don't want to spend too much time, because this is the best way to think about this flamboyant type character, this flamboyant type villain, is if you've ever seen the movie Rocky Horror Picture Show, think like Dr. Frankenfurter, how expressive, how wild, how, rolling of the eyes, and just expressive body and face. That is how this character acts. They're very flamboyant. They just, that sort of thing. At one point, I want to talk about how, in fact, I'm going to do this right now. They're talking about one of the reasons they don't want to just, slaughter the innocent by the millions anymore, just as a method of saying hi, is everybody does that. Everybody engages in at least one planetary genocide. Everybody's got about 2 or 3 ethnic and racial cleansings going on. How do you stand out in an oversaturated field of blood? Well, you can't. You just have to keep upping the ante, but everyone's been doing that. Everybody is engaged in genocide. It's been done. It's over. It's passé. But as stated, they also admit and confess to being a very goth emo /stage when they were younger. And of course, they were only as goth emo as an out-of-touch sort of being of power can ever be. Which in their case just means they were goth and emo AF, since I don't want to get demonetized. So they're that sort of, ugh. But they're talking about how at this one point, yes, they were part of the problem when they force marched over the span of a year over 1 billion innocent women and children into a live volcano where they all burned to death in the magma. The end result, they have no problems with. I mean, in the end, that was 1 billion dead, innocent, and helpless women and children. I mean, that stands on its own. It is beauty. It is art. It doesn't require any sort of explanation. It stands on its own. But it's how deeply goth and emo they were during this phase, because they even though they had the physique for it back then, they wore a full body leather suit, dyed black, made entirely out of the skin of human children. And that wasn't so bad. The thing is, they wore it unironically. That makes them want to sink into the bowels of the earth in embarrassment. Not the 1 billion dead women and children. That, again, that stands on its own as just beauty and art. It's just, oh God, how unself-aware while wearing that black bodysuit. Oh! And they're that kind of character. So because you can't stand out in a field of blood, they're not going to roughly engage in all that. Of course, just to keep from getting bored, Atrocities are largely off the table except for the odd massacre or 3. You gotta keep your toe in. But aside from that, nearly half of the major atrocities that can be committed aren't even on the table to start the conversation. So don't worry, their methods and what their goals are nearly peaceful, almost harmless. So just relax. Even though they are a being of power, a new walker, a new player on the field, which of course makes all the other established players rightfully worried. They're just letting everyone know that no fear. I shan't be slaughtering the innocent, the weak, and the helpless by their millions just to say hello. Because that's just so done. So they're a late-stage player in the whole a year on the razor's edge sort of thing. How much of a character, how much of a play will they actually be inside of this whole thing? No ideas. no ideas. It might just be a small bit thing, might be large. I still have great hopes and plans for this entire thing. I am going to write it, and if I need to, of course, self-publish. This, of course, assuming I don't get hit by a bus or killed by cancer or die on the streets homeless or any sort of a billion sort of odd and horrible things that can happen. One of the bad things that can happen because my blood pressure was so high, because my ADHD meds, I've talked about cumulative damage. High blood pressure can damage your kidneys. My kidneys, because of stuff that happened while I was married, aren't in good shape anyway. So high blood pressure did not do my kidneys any favors. Oh boy. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab. Going to go through and thank however many people have left big comments on that community tab. Anything more than 0 is awesome. Thumbs up and thank you. If I mispronounce the username, don't disrespect as intended. And even though I can't American Sign Language, well, you know the way my brain works. I try. Unmedicated, I'm amazed my brain works at all. Armchair Express, thumbs up and thank you. Brooks Fleming, not quite sure what you're trying to say, but thank you, I guess. Spectre, greatly appreciated. Alfonso Jackson, thumbs up and thank you. Confused Owl 29, oh boy, I'd love to go into caves, but okey smokes. And thank you for the it's not a link, but the heads up there. Honor, thumbs up and thank you, greatly appreciated. And then there's, I cannot tell for the language, but it could be, it's an ideographic language, so I don't know, but Kazuki, thank you. And then there's Ben B, greatly appreciated. Neil Burns, thumbs up and thank you. We have Floramu, greatly appreciated. Hokey smokes. Then there is Rabini Dundry. I'm nowhere close, but thank you. Dominique Williams Gaming. I will do what I can. Thank you. Skies, greatly appreciated. Jesse Koskinen. I sure hope I'm still still close on the pronunciation, and it's a good game. I really enjoy the game a lot. And that is it. 14 people who left me comments in the past 24 hours. Thumbs up and thank you. You get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, if only in text and if only for a short time. Thumbs up and thank you. And of course, with my hands in the air, don't know what device you're watching this on, so I don't know where the show more is, but inside I have links to all my various channels, as well as Twitter, Facebook, Patreon. And again, I do want to thank each and every one of my beautiful and awesome Patreon patrons. These literally beautiful, literally awesome people are helping to keep me and my pets metabolizing, and I appreciate that to no end. I enjoy metabolizing, and I know my kitty cat and little ghost the hamster also enjoy metabolizing. Thank you so very, very much. And if you'd like to become one, there are links. I've already said all that part. Yay! If you'd like to help me out without becoming a Patreon patron, I do have links to a PayPal. And of course, I'm hoping to do this. I can't get the book. I'm hoping to get enough PayPal donations that I can buy the next book in this series. So if you could help out, that would be cool. Yay! Thank you very much. And of course, if you'd like to help me out without doing anything financial, I do have an Amazon wishlist link. Thumbs up for that. Don't feel obligated. I don't feel entitled. And if you cannot or simply do not donate, I take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest. So thank you very much. If you toss me a like, appreciate all the positive validation I got from my existence. And of course, if you hit the notification bell on the subscription button, that would be very cool. Definitely a thumbs up. Well, hokey smokes, there's all sorts of stuff I didn't talk about. Like, I want to talk about the Kaza trails and the Kaza forest and right in Tenasket. And then there's a zombie plague and work on that. There's Daff and Daff Ortega. All sorts of things I want to talk about. That cryptid and his relationship with Bakir. There's all sorts of things. But hey, as stated, I got therapy today, so yay, and then we'll see what happens afterward. Hopefully you can get done the things you need to get done, but of course if you can't, don't beat yourself up. These are bad, hard times. Everybody is feeling the pressure of everything that's going on in the world. If you're in survival mode, concentrate on surviving. And of course, with the Cafefe bug raging, and they're talking about the long-term effects of this stuff, even from people who have mild infections of it, please take precautions, be smart. In the United States alone, 1,000 to 2,000 people are dying daily from this. So even if mask restrictions and such are being lifted where you are, please be smart, take precautions. You know what they are, but as well, get vaxxed. Get a booster. Thumbs up for that. So, until we meet again, you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side. Quite frankly, I think that is an awesome idea.